Good evening. It's Tuesday, March 31st. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi, and we are broadcasting remotely tonight. And we begin with the largest single-day spike in coronavirus cases since San Diego County reported its first case. There are now 734 cases. That's up 131 from yesterday. 2 more people have died, bringing the death toll to 9. KPBS health reporter Taryn Mento has more on what county and state leaders are doing to prepare for a peak surge in the coming weeks.
Maya, that jump is the biggest one-day increase we've seen over the last few weeks, but officials warned against paying too close attention to the daily changes. County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says people should look at totals over the long term.
There is not a lot that you can read into day-by-day results. Day-by-day results can be influenced by testing, it can be influenced by batching, it can be influenced by a series of things. What we really want to look for is trends that are weeks over weeks.
Officials say the county still hasn't reached the peak of cases and expects numbers to keep growing. To prepare, they're tracking ventilators. As of today, 481 are available in San Diego. They're also expanding bed space by using UCSD dorms and asking for a field hospital from the state. And statewide, thousands of healthcare providers have signed up to help for an expected patient surge. Governor Gavin Newsom said earlier today that 25,000 licensed medical professionals have applied to help during the crisis in just one day.
Phlebotomists, radiologists, EMTs, doctors, nurses, a remarkable spirit and a remarkable number of individuals that stepped up and are willing to step in to meet COVID-19 head-on.
Newsom says the other part of getting through the crisis is supporting the most vulnerable. He encouraged everyone to check in with neighbors and relatives who are over 65 years old to make sure they have enough food and medication, but also so that they still feel connected. He pointed Californians to a new state hotline to call for any questions or needs they may have. That's 833-544-2374. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
And just moments ago, San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer asked everyone to help grocery store workers who he says are essential employees.
But again, I'm encouraging San Diegans to shop for only what you need. There is plenty to go around, and every day there is more on the way. The supply chains and the distribution centers are working. And taking these simple steps to get just what you need is going to ensure that when San Diegans go to the store, the customers and employees remain safe. That's how we're all going to help get through this together.
And today, Sprouts announced 2 workers at the Carlsbad store on El Camino Real tested positive for the virus. An Albertsons employee in Escondido and 4 local restaurant workers have also recently tested positive. A passenger aboard the Celebrity Eclipse cruise ship docked in San Diego Harbor has tested positive for COVID-19. That person was taken to a hospital with medical issues that were not believed to be related to the virus, but was later diagnosed. All passengers have been instructed to self-quarantine for 14 days. The Eclipse was the last cruise ship allowed to disembark following a county health order. Ships will still be allowed to dock, but no one will be allowed off. Across the U.S., more than 3,700 people have died from the coronavirus. That's more than China's official death toll, and public health officials warn this is only the beginning. As Karen Kaifa reports, each state is facing different peaks at different times.
Still days from a forecasted peak in New York State.
We're all in search of the apex and the other side of the mountain.
A field hospital in Manhattan Central Park and the USNS Comfort getting ready to help New York City's overtaxed hospitals. More cities preparing for their turn as hotspots, like New Orleans.
We're preparing for a significant amount of hospitalizations and unfortunately a corresponding significant amount of deaths.
Detroit and Chicago are filling their massive downtown convention centers with hospital beds. Los Angeles, watching cases rise, is also looking to what's been successful elsewhere.
I think we're learning from everyone who's, taking part in really mounting what I think are appropriate and sometimes heroic efforts to slow the spread.
Like New York's cooperation with neighboring states, other regions are coordinating stay-at-home orders, like Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland.
we reached the point where we believe it's necessary to further get people off the streets so we can continue to save thousands of lives.
The nation's top public health experts waiting for the measures to have a mitigating impact.
I believe it will happen, that we may start seeing a turnaround, but we haven't seen it yet.
Meanwhile, House Democrats working from home are beginning to outline priorities for a fourth coronavirus relief bill. In Washington, Karen Kafa, KPBS News.
The city of San Diego is offering grants and loans to small businesses impacted by the coronavirus shutdowns. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the response has been overwhelming.
It's been weeks since Bluxom Salon in North Park has had any paying customers. Owner Marshall McKiernan had to lay off all of her employees, but plans on rehiring them as soon as she can open up again. She says as soon as the online application for small business relief went live, the city's website crashed. It took her hours before she could finally submit her application. She says the city should have been prepared for the onslaught of web traffic.
And what was most painful was looking at these different mayors high-fiving our mayor for doing such a great job, but not even considering that hundreds of business owners were in hysterics trying to get in line for this funding, and many of them will close if they don't get it.
City officials say they spent all weekend responding to voicemails and emails to ensure everyone was able to submit their application.
We're working concurrently to set up additional funds to be made available through private entities and donations. So we've been working on that concurrently because we knew that $6.1 million was not going to be enough for our small businesses.
As of Monday evening, the city had received more than 6,000 applications for relief funding. The grants and loans will be given out based on eligibility and on a first-come, first-served basis. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
The Marines continue to take in new recruits into boot camp in San Diego. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh says this is despite the commandant ordering a pause on the East Coast.
MCRD San Diego will remain open to new recruits. That's the word from the Marines West Coast Boot Camp. Captain Martin Harris, a spokesman for the recruit depot, says a new class arrived Monday night in San Diego.
What happens with the recruits that arrived on Monday? They came to the recruit depot, they were screened initially, and then they got a medical screening right after to ensure that they didn't have any symptoms.
The decision to admit new recruits comes after Marine Corps Commandant David Berger announced on Twitter Monday that they were halting all new recruits coming to Parris Island. The Washington Post reported a number of recruits tested positive for COVID-19 at the Marine Corps boot camp on the East Coast. MCRD San Diego takes in all recruits west of the Mississippi. Harris says they're taking extra precautions to remain open.
Their bed spaces have been increased to 6 feet, as well as all the bed spaces for all of the recruits in recruit training have been expanded to 6 feet.
Like Parris Island, San Diego is keeping new recruits separated from the rest of the recruits for the first 14 days. They eat, sleep, and go to class separately. Harris says they're confident that they can contain an outbreak.
We have had 0 positive tests of COVID up to this point. There's a little bit of luck involved in that, right? And so a lot of training and a lot of planning and a little bit of luck has got us where we are today.
The Marines are still asking recruits to fly commercial to San Diego despite a 60-day travel ban put into place military-wide by Secretary of Defense Mark Esper. Harris says they're staying open because it takes a year to train a Marine.
We will, potentially see effects of this if we, suspend or stop making Marines here. And that's why it's so essential for us to continue operating.
A week ago, Naval Special Warfare stopped new recruits from attending SEAL training on Coronado after one tested positive. Berger has said each Marine command makes its own initial decision on how to react to the virus. The number of cases continue to rise among all service branches, including on board ship. MCRD San Diego has at least one case of COVID-19. Harris says it's in a command separate from recruits, and the person has isolated at home. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
KPBS partner iNewsSource is reporting that an equipment malfunction at the San Diego VA hospital may have exposed patients and staff to the novel coronavirus in airborne form. The incident occurred last week during a planned power outage when infected air from COVID-19 isolation rooms may have been accidentally pumped into other areas of the ICU. The Union for the VA's nurses filed a complaint with OSHA. The San Diego VA didn't comment on the incident. For more on this story, you can go to inewssource.org. Another student of San Diego State University has been diagnosed with the virus. This diagnosis makes the third confirmed case for the university. In a letter to the SDSU community, the school says the student was previously living on campus and reportedly didn't start feeling sick until after moving out on March 19th. The student is now recovering in isolation off campus, and people who may have had interaction have been notified. Nursing students at San Diego State University and across the state have been pulled from working in hospitals during the outbreak, but that means they won't have the clinical hours they need to graduate. In collaboration with our partner iNewsSource, KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser says this could create a shortage of nurses next year.
My mom sort of had an influence on me. She's a registered nurse.
Sarah Fauché is a third-year nursing student at San Diego State. Up until recently, she'd been spending 2 days a week in the hospital, fulfilling the hands-on clinical hours that are required for her degree. Then the coronavirus struck.
I myself was actually potentially exposed to one of the patients I was taking care of was being tested for coronavirus.
She and 2 other nursing students had to be isolated at home until the results came back that the patient didn't have coronavirus. But by then, hospitals and SDSU decided nursing students should no longer be in hospitals. Fauché had mixed emotions about the decision.
I sort of feel guilty that I can't, I guess. Because I feel like that's part of signing up for the job is there is a chance, you're taking care of sick patients and infectious patients. There's a risk to yourself as well.
The problem is that nursing students can't treat patients, but they still need personal protective equipment and other resources that are in scarce supply. That's according to Dr. Philip Greiner, the nursing director at SDSU.
Nurses are the people who run in and take care of patients. Some people might say we should have students doing the same thing. But remember, students are here for education, not exposure. As they graduate, they might put themselves in harm's way, but we can't do that as part of their education.
About 75% of nursing students' clinical work has to be direct patient care, which means students now can't graduate. Dr. Greiner says it would take an executive order from Governor Gavin Newsom to make the change.
These students need to graduate, enter the workforce, and be full RNs at a time when we need them most.
Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
The California Department of Health is coming under fire for ordering nursing homes to accept people with the coronavirus. KPBS reporter Amita Sharma has more.
The Department of Health has instructed California's some 1,500 nursing homes to ban non-essential visitors to protect its elderly residents from COVID-19. But Monday night, it issued a different kind of order. The department directed nursing homes to accept people suspected or diagnosed with COVID-19 while taking, quote, appropriate precautions to prevent the spread of the infection. Dr. Carl Steinberg, a nursing home and hospice medical director in North County, called the order reckless.
What responsible healthcare provider would willingly make a decision to put somebody who has this deadly, contagious illness into a place where it doesn't already exist? I mean, to me, that's essentially being an accessory to homicide.
The Department of Health did not respond to a request for comment. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
Many grocery stores have created special hours for those most at risk for the virus, including seniors. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman says while some seniors can go shopping themselves, others can't.
It's 7 a.m. and Maria Huidobro of St. Paul's Pace is out shopping.
She's not shopping for herself, but for a senior.
So right now she's asking for a lot of basic needs, but unfortunately it's going to be those like toilet paper, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, which are not very much available right now at any store.
That's why grocery stores, including the North Park Vons, are holding special early hours where only seniors can shop. The idea is that more products will be on shelves. St. Paul's Pace is an all-inclusive program for seniors, and one of the services they offer is grocery shopping.
There's no ground beef.
Which isn't so easy right now, as stores throughout the county are low on food and out of many cleaning supplies.
4 should be enough.
Toilet paper was on today's list, and thanks to the early shopping hours,
Plenty, thankfully.
seniors are at a higher risk of developing a serious illness because of coronavirus.
A lot of them are very, they're very alert and they're very scared of what's happening. We might stop for water.
Most of the food items on the list Widobro was able to find. It's no surprise what she couldn't get her hands on.
Today we were not able to get the Clorox wipes, the Lysol spray, and the hand sanitizer.
If you have your club card, please scan it now.
After 30 minutes of shopping, it's time to check out.
Thank you so much.
Then Widobro loads the groceries into her car and makes a short drive to drop them off at 70-year-old Connie Gomez's house.
No, you're good, don't worry. Hi, Connie.
Hi.
We're back.
Okay. Oh, you found toilet paper.
Yes, we did.
The isolation is getting to me.
Gomez says she's been following the governor's stay-at-home orders for seniors, but
I suffer from depression, and anxiety has gone through the roof. I mean, it's tripled.
But thanks to nonprofits like St. Paul's Pace during the outbreak, Gomez can relax a little.
The help that they're giving me is tremendous.
We need the peanut butter. That's what I'm missing. I'm not complaining about my shopping. I figure my own things out. But when you're trying to shop for someone that needs it, it's very sad to not be able to find certain things that they need for their everyday lives.
Maria's message is simple. When you're out shopping, only take what you need, because when you hoard, those who are most at risk for the virus might not be able to get what they need. Here in North Park, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
And if you know a senior who needs help during this time, please call 211. We're following all of the latest coronavirus developments for you at kpbs.org. Click on the Tracking COVID-19 link on our homepage, and you'll be taken to a page with all of our recent reports. You can find that right now at kpbs.org. Crime doesn't stop even in the face of a pandemic. A huge drug bust along the border uncovers another underground tunnel and the seizure of 4,400 pounds of mixed drugs on the U.S. side. After an ongoing investigation, federal agents found the tunnel, which extends from a warehouse in Otay Mesa to a warehouse in Tijuana, 2,000 feet underground. The total street value of the drugs from the tunnel is estimated at just under $30 million. A possible delay in the sentencing of Margaret Hunter, the wife of former Congressman Duncan Hunter. For her part in the corruption case, her lawyers have requested a postponement in her sentencing by a month. The lawyers cited the suspension of jury trials to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Margaret Hunter pleaded guilty last summer in the case of stolen campaign funds. She faces up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Her husband, Duncan Hunter, was sentenced to 11 months in prison and must surrender by May 29th.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, a spike in U.S. deaths from COVID-19 and predictions it will get much worse. What you need to know. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Cooler temperatures and cloudy conditions are expected in the next few days. Marvin Gomez has our forecast.
Hope you're having an excellent day so far, and thanks for staying with us here on KPBS News. I'm AccuWeather's Marvin Gomez, and here are your weather highlights. It is going to be near average in terms of temperatures heading into your Wednesday, a little bit cooler for your Thursday and Friday, and already for tonight, or heading into your Wednesday, we are going to have that onshore flow coming back strong, bringing us that marine layer not only for the coast, but also into some of the western valleys. So we are going to have some low clouds, some foggy conditions in a couple spots, and patchy drizzle little as possible Wednesday night into your Thursday morning. Again, it's a very low chance that we're going to see that, so I think in general it's just safe to say that it's going to be foggy out there. Looking at our radar and satellite in the last couple of hours, that bright white you see here across Southern California, those are some of the high clouds that have been with us during the day. And as we head into tonight, well, those temperatures are going to be cooling down to 50 degrees across Escondido. Ramona, a little bit chillier for you, 46 degrees tonight. Borrego Springs, 63 for your lowest. We take you into your Wednesday. For the most part, most of the southwest stays sunny and mild, but keep in mind across our area here in San Diego County, we do have that marine layer starting to come to us tonight. Tomorrow in the afternoon, we are going to have a lot opportunity for sunshine, but then into your Wednesday night into Thursday morning, you could see that marine layer again coming into some of the western valleys as well. Tomorrow, San Diego County looking at temperatures in the 70s across San Diego, Escondido, upper 60s for Chula Vista, and Ramona, 72 degrees. Here's your AccuWeather forecast for the next 5 days along the coast. And notice that on Sunday, we're starting to see some spotty activity, and that's because we are going to have another storm approaching us as we head into the end of the into the weekend. So we could have a couple of showers across some of the coast, the inland areas, and in the mountains. Well, it is going to be a little bit cooler with, again, the potential for some showers in the afternoon. 60 degrees for tomorrow in the mountains. Looking at the deserts, we're in the upper 80s for your Wednesday, and then we have that cool down, bringing us down into the upper 80s for your Thursday and also for your Friday with mostly sunny skies. That's all on my end. Now back to you.
Temperature checks when reporting for work will soon be the new normal for employees at Walmart and Sam's Club. The retailer said it's part of screening workers for symptoms of coronavirus. The temp checks will start within the next 3 weeks when facilities receive thermometers. Employees will also be asked a series of questions to determine the status of their health before starting work. Masks and gloves will also be provided as long as supplies are available. As millions of Americans shelter inside their homes, many workers deemed essential continue to work around the clock. They're delivering food packages and stocking grocery store shelves. Vanessa Yurkovich spoke with some workers about how they feel being on the front lines.
As millions stay home, millions are out risking exposure to the virus on the front lines.
Yes, delivering. I'm a New Yorker. I typically don't get scared of anything. But you know what? It's essential that I'm out here.
They're not doctors and nurses, but they are taking care of Americans.
Be safe, okay?
From Tony Mazzella, a UPS driver, to grocers, to food delivery personnel.
Package right down here. That's yours.
All deemed critical industries, working around the clock in the face of a pandemic.
I deliver medicine regularly. We deliver packages to the hospital regularly. I just feel, for lack of a better word, privileged that we're still able to work and do our job.
UPS has nearly 500,000 employees on the job around the world. Here are some still working in Bergamo, the epicenter of the coronavirus in Italy, singing in solidarity. Companies like UPS and Fresh Direct say they're following CDC and WHO guidelines for social distancing and hygiene protocols.
It's so crazy, to understand that how much people really need us now in this pandemic. It's a little risk coming outside every day to do your job, but I appreciate it. I kind of feel like a superhero in a sense, saving the world.
With face masks prioritized for hospitals, there are a few left for other critical workers. Morton Williams supermarkets in New York City have a small supply for their employees, but not enough, so they made their own.
Got a homemade mask for you. Yeah, you can take one.
Jennifer Camacho is one of more than 2 million grocery store workers across the country exposed to large groups of people each day.
I am definitely afraid of, getting this virus. I'm doing everything I can to protect myself, and I'm here for the community.
And her message to all of us:
take all your precautions, please. Keep us safe so we can keep you safe as well.
As uncertainty grows, these employees still find joy in their work.
I'm happy about the fact that we're able to keep the elderly, our grandmother's age, to keep them in the house safe is a great thing.
And that was Vanessa Yurkovich reporting. We could see stimulus checks in about 3 weeks at the earliest, but scammers are already eyeing your money. Mandy Gaither breaks down what you need to know in today's Consumer Watch.
Before you've even gotten your stimulus check, a warning from the FBI and several state attorney generals. Don't fall victim to phone calls, texts, emails, or websites that ask for personal or financial information in order to receive your federal payment. Officials say that includes paying someone who calls with a promise to expedite or obtain a payment or loan for you. If you're eligible for relief, you do not need to make any upfront payment or pay a fee to receive your stimulus check. People who file tax returns electronically and provide the IRS with their bank information will likely get their payments earlier through direct deposit. Paper checks are expected to take longer to mail out. You'll receive a notice by mail no longer than 15 days after the payment was distributed, detailing the amount, how it was sent, and an IRS phone number to call if the funds fail to arrive. Most Americans will receive up to $1,200. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
While some landlords are deferring rent during the outbreak, one small business landlord in Solana Beach is completely waiving rent from his tenants for the month of April. Daniel Powell is the landlord for 17 businesses on South Cedros Avenue in the Arts District. He says he felt this is the right thing to do. The act of kindness brought one small business owner to tears.
And I have huge gratitude when this came out because it was in the middle of the night and I didn't know how I'd make it and pay my rent. I have no income.
And as for rent for the following month, well, Powell says he hasn't thought about it yet. Now an update on our top story. San Diego County has reported the largest single-day spike in coronavirus cases yet. There are now 734 cases. That is up 131 from yesterday. 2 more people have died as well, bringing the death toll to 9. Health officials say the county still hasn't reached the peak of cases and expects numbers to keep growing. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe and good night.